What's up here at Oshkosh? E3 members, this is exciting. With my buddy Ken, Redline Airshows. We're going to see the behind the scenes of how he puts the night show on, which is loading up things I guess I did have on my jet, things that go boom, but you're loading them up and you have fireworks and pyro.
I actually have more than you.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yep, more little pieces, a lot of little pieces, yeah.
So we're gonna see the whole routine. So I don't want to slow you down because you're flying here in a couple hours. So starting with taking the wingtip off.
Cool. Over time, we developed a new way of doing this, the Redline way. So I start with taking the wingtips off. So I modified the wingtip to hold all the fireworks. Somebody else came up with this idea of using piano hinges to put it together.
That's held on by a piano hinge?
That is all held on by a piano hinge. Then I come over here and take this off. And this is cannon plugs for the firing system. And the nav lights. So there, it's now completely off. The modification is inside of here to actually put the fireworks inside of here. So I'll take this cover off and load in the fireworks. I'll show you how that works.
Who came up with this process?
You know, I did. When we first started doing this, we hung all the pyro beneath the airplane, kind of like rocket pods that you have it on your F-16, and it worked out pretty well. But as we started to add more pyro, it got to be draggy, slow the airplane down by 25 knots or so.
No kidding, that big.
Yeah, and you know, you're trying to dive down to do a maneuver at night, and that extra time in the dive, and you know, it just slowed the whole show down. So in an effort to reduce drag and still keep it pretty safe, we came up with an idea that all the pyro would be contained inside the shell like this.
Yeah.
And inside the slipstream reduced the drag a whole lot.
I mean, yeah, because that's barely sticking out.
Yeah, barely sticking out, and on the side and on the bottom, it's not sticking out at all. So
here, I'm a simpleton. I mean, this modification here, did you do that?
I did that. Yeah, I figured out how to lay it out, and it cost me an extra wingtip to figure it out. But yeah, it was all measurements and seeing, and then I have all this custom made to what I want in size and number of shots. Each one of these is 30 shots.
Is that reusable, or that's it?
These are one shot throwaways.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And so I have these designed. I shoot 15 at a shot. And the whole system, I actually have 12 events, and I can do anything I want during these 12 events. So I modified for the show, the circumstances, where I'm at, what the show wants me to do also.
This whole time I've known you, I've just completely underestimated you. This is shocking that you're able to come up with such an amazing design. Look at this. Look at you.
Yeah, it's pretty much fun. It's kind of fun to figure out, and it seems like each year I add on, you know, one more, and it's cool. And but the effort is to try to keep the drag down.
Yeah.
And but keep it entertaining and see how much I can do with it. So yeah, so these are all basically comets, come out and glow, pop, shoot, a flare coming out. And then I'll put a couple of plates on the back here. I'll show you that here as I go.
And I know you mentioned the sequence. So you said you have 12 sequences that
12
you use.
events, yeah.
Where do you program that?
I can show you that in the cockpit.
Okay, we'll get to that. All right.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah, I'll show you that in a minute. So I developed a way to kind of shoot all of these. So when these are on, when the plate is in here, these wires come through. I kind of put them down here just to keep them from blowing around. Poke them through a hole. Oh, I got to clear off.
Move those.
I got to clear off the old one right here. See the old shots that I had there?
Oh, okay. Who manufactures these?
The wingtips are actually made by Van's Aircraft.
Okay.
And they have two different designs of wingtips. And this particular design is, they call it the bat tip. So it's a little bit bigger than the original one, which had a slope to it, flat top slope. And I couldn't use that for this because it didn't have enough volume inside to make it work.
Yeah.
My whole goal was just to try to get it out completely out of the slipstream. So what's interesting is it takes me about 6.5 hours, 6.5 or 7 hours to load everything. This and everything else, put it on the airplane, have it ready to go. So it takes about an hour a minute of fireworks.
The piano hinge piece, that's the part that, again, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Who came up with that idea?
You know, I don't know, but my partner John actually came up with the thought of this is how we should connect the wingtips so we could save how many screws we have to take off.
Right. Just rivet it in there.
Rivet it on and then glued on and this is my design. It's very individual to the airplane and to my act. And each one of these guys, you know, has a different system that they've come up with their airplane to be supported on the airplane. So.
What's the design process? I imagine it starts with a bar napkin and a beer and a good idea.
Yep. And it was so funny. So I started out with this. A guy named Mike Moon did the Stewart Airshow at the time down in Florida. And John and I, we were at one of our first ICASs. He came by the booth and we had a show where he had lights on the airplane, but we didn't have any fireworks. And he goes, you know, I'd hire you guys if you had fireworks. So John told him, I think we could do that. He told the guy, Mike Stewart, the airshow organizer, that he would do that. And we get in the elevator, and on the way up in the elevator, John's telling me his idea, and I'm like, oh, that's a terrible idea. We got so much time in doing that. I don't know if I want to do that. Yeah. He goes to bed. Next morning, we get on the elevator, go down for breakfast, and he goes, you know what? That was a terrible idea. And I'm like, no, I think we could do that. And so that was the beginning of it.
The seed was planted.
Yep.
Is it designed around the pyro here, or was the pyro designed around that spot?
Good call. The first original one, was more of the first way. You know,
okay.
I was designing the system with whatever pyro I could get, and then after that, now I designed the pyro to fit the system that I got.
Yeah, because you've obviously thought about the show that you want to have or what you need.
That's right. What I think looks the best, and quite honestly is easily done. You know, even though it takes me hours to load it, and is also repeatable. So I can do this, you know, over and over.
Having the repeatable piece is huge.
Yep.
Nothing new, nothing dangerous.
Nothing different. I know it works, you know, and so I've done this pyro show probably somewhere in the vicinity of, I'd say probably 70 times. Yeah.
So I know we've talked about this before, but obviously flying at night, that is extremely challenging. Flying at night when you start flipping upside down and doing things.
Yeah.
Another layer of challenging. And then, oh, by the way, you're going to pop out fireworks while you're doing it.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you're thinking about and doing? Is there anything different, like flying at night, doing this?
Yeah. The winds, the weather play a big part. How much ambient light? Is there a full moon, no moon?
Yeah.
You know, all these thoughts go into it when I'm originally trying to think about what I want to see. At the event, you know, what kind of lighting do we have on the ground?
Yeah.
You know, a number of years back when, 10 years ago, even finding show center here was a bit of a challenge in the dark because all the lights are off. We got runway lights, which is helpful. But beyond that, it was like, where exactly is it? Then we start putting a light out on the ground to kind of help us find show center from a distance. And that you know, so I can judge what kind of speed I need or when I'm going to actually start the fireworks or the pole, you know, as it were. Okay, so now the fireworks is loaded in the wingtip, the initial comets. And now as the painstakings with my notes on here of where I want the fireworks to actually shoot for this show.
It's a good placard.
Yeah. So I have 12 events, and while I'm going through it, I'm calling out which event I'm going to fire this exact shot. Okay, install the wingtip back onto the wing. So I reconnect the lights in here. Then I have all of these terminals wired so I can change the sequence anywhere I want. So I put the cannon plugs back on. Put the wires inside the wingtip. That is the wingtip on. My thoughts are that, you know, if anything were to happen, I can fly without the wingtip. So I didn't want to connect it to the metal on the airplane. That's the thought process here.
Okay, yeah, I can see the logic behind that. Yeah. What the sequencing? Who designed that? How is that? Is that
Yeah,
run?
so I design it per show on how I want the show to look and when I want to fire the events, and I customize it a bit. But to be honest, most of it remains the same. So I've got 30 shots on each one of these.
Okay.
And these come off as 15 a shot.
Okay.
And straight up, straight out, straight down. So on both wings, it's a full sky. These shoot out shells that come out like this and explode into a big ball.
Okay.
Right?
Good.
Called aerials.
Exploding things. Yep,
and then these come, a couple of these come out, or comets, they go out, leave a streak, and then split into 3. And underneath here is 22 gerbs, and that's the trail of sparks that you see.
Yep.
Underneath here then is one more event that I fire all at once, so when I pull up, it fires a scatter of 5, red, white, and blue, look like a flag. Yeah. And each one of these is on a number of the event that I want it to fire on. So while I'm in a loop or while I'm upside down.
So nothing's coming off until event 3.
Until event 3 it's fired. Yep.
Then, so yeah, event 5 gets kind of spicy.
Yeah.
Or 12 really does.
Yeah, and the finale when I fire all that off, that's the big event. All this is controlled in the cockpit. So I'll show you that now.
Perfect.
Okay, so I have a controller here, wires that come down and go out to the wing, and this is the controller for the pyro. So when I'm flying, I'll turn this on. And then I have the 12 events. So I'll fire each event. I can fire it by pressing the button there or pressing it on my stick. And as I do that, I'll click to the next event as I'm in each maneuver.
Is this something, again, I go back, you're not buying off the shelf.
No.
You've designed it to...
Yep. Designed it and built it, wired it so that it'll do what I want. You know, we've thought about sequencing boards and things like that. The failure rate on those is quite honestly sometimes kind of high, and for wind conditions, adjusting for timing on events, timing on the music, I felt like it was more of an analog system would help me kind of control that a little bit better.
Okay, kind of simplify it just a little bit.
Yeah. And if I ever want to change my mind and fire something at one time or another, when I raced Chris Darnell in the jet truck at night, I could change over and fire a bigger event while I was doing it.
Okay, obviously, and you're just programming it via wiring.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct, yeah. Or selection, also. But yeah, that's the secret sauce.
Well, and real quick, I know because we got the canopy open, flying at night, very dynamic. You can't see as well at night. That's a little known fact.
Yeah.
But any issue with the pyro going off, like, you know, I'm with flying an F-16, like night vision, you know, that's like preserving the night vision is really big. You have to take night vision goggles off 5 minutes prior to landing, let your eyes adjust, etc.
Yeah.
But when you have these big flashes going,
there is that too. So for me, everything's happening behind me.
Okay.
For the most part, and I do have a glow in the cockpit that I recognize is there. All these lights, everything is turned off or down as far as it'll possibly go, just so that I can preserve my night vision for that. once it's fired, you know, the glow that I see, everything kind of goes behind me so quick. Even though it's going straight up, straight out, and straight down, it still goes behind me so quick that I don't really get that. I do have the flares that put some light, but it's probably nothing more than, you know, landing lights from an airplane next to you that are on. So yeah, it's very I don't know, mentally controllable. The aerobatics part along with it, that's another element that takes time.
Slightly dynamic.
Yeah.
I think I probably told you this, F-16, there's an illusion the first time you ever see it at night when you pop flares.
Yeah.
It presents an F-16 silhouette going over your canopy, so you think someone's getting ready to hit you.
It's kind of same thing here.
Okay.
I do see silhouettes of things behind me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for showing that.
Yeah, pretty neat. Great way.
Yeah, it's so cool.
To shoot it.
Yeah, design it, and I mean, I never knew you were this smart.
Yeah.
Maybe smart.
I'll tell you what, it's a lot of fun. You guys are going to love it tonight. So we're going to get some footage from inside the cockpit, what I'm seeing. So you're going to see that firsthand and see Oshkosh from upside down.
Yeah, incredible.
At night.
Yeah, no big deal. Well, thanks, Ken.
Yeah, good. Loved it.
Hey E3, I hope you enjoyed this walk around with Ken. It's going to be an amazing show, and it's another behind the scenes look at some really cool flying. As always, shout out to Vanian Pilot Shop for helping make things like this possible. We'll see you next time.